And Simone Biles drops a second Olympic event. Is her competitive career over?
I'm Nicole Burley. It is Wednesday, July 28th. Here's what's making headlines right now on Rush Hour. A nationwide rush to reimpose mask mandates after the CDC reversed course as Delta variant cases climb. The back and forth in Congress tonight. Plus, can you be required to get the COVID vaccine? The companies and government agencies now making it a rule. We're taking a deeper look at that issue for you. And there appears to be a deal on infrastructure. A vote on the $1 trillion bill could happen in the Senate as soon as tonight. We'll be watching what happens on the Hill and bring you any breaking details. We do have thousands of News Nation journalists spread all across the country, turning big stories all day long. Let's start in Nevada. A pilot escapes unharmed after a crash landing on a freeway. That plane almost immediately bursting into flames. The pilot describes what went wrong in the cockpit. And a Florida babysitter spent just days in jail after shaking a baby so hard he suffered permanent brain damage. That was nearly 40 years ago. But we'll tell you why tonight she is now facing murder charges in that same case. And a dream beach vacation turns terrifying for a California teenager. A 12-foot crocodile latches onto her leg. Tonight, she tells News Nation about being dragged under the water, unsure if she'd resurface. But let's start in Georgia with the return of mask mandates all across the country, from the federal government down to the local level. News Nation's Janelle Fort live for us tonight outside the CDC in Atlanta. Janelle, so far, 12 states have re-implemented some variation of a mask mandate, and that's based on the agency's new recommendations.
Yeah, Nicole, Georgia, where the CDC is located, is not one of them, but the states that did make that list: New York, California, Nevada. And since this change, of course, by the CDC, states are now on this scramble. States and businesses are in a scramble to adjust to these new recommendations. And the reversal has everything to do with the highly contagious Delta variant. For weeks now, we've been telling you about these virus hotspots amid surging COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations nationwide. And the numbers, they just continue to grow. Health experts have been drilling this into our head that the way to get this pandemic under control is vaccinations, but with this new kind of reverse of course, it's leaving a lot of people confused. It's leaving a lot of people scratching their heads, wondering why, now that they have rolled up their sleeves and gotten these shots, do they still have to wear a mask? One of the selling points for vaccinations is that once you do so, you can ditch the mask and you can return to living life with some sort of normalcy. But now health experts are backtracking on that, and it's causing a lot of confusion. It's causing people to reignite this debate over wearing masks, the polarizing debate over wearing masks. It's causing vaccine hesitancy. And there's been a lot of pushback from people about these reimposed mask mandates. But still, health experts say that it's based in science and that the science shows that wearing masks does reduce transmission of the virus.
In areas where we don't have as high of vaccination rates as we really need to reduce transmission and reduce risk of transmission in communities, masks are still a very important tool.
Now, again, Nicole, the CDC says that regardless of vaccination status, everyone who lives in an area that COVID cases are surging should be wearing a mask indoors. And right now, Nicole, that's about 60% of the United States.
60%. All right. Janelle, thank you. Well, more top stories tonight from D.C. and Florida. But first, let's keep digging into the return of those mask mandates. News Nation's Joe Khalil live for us tonight at the Capitol. Joe, we know mask mandates already making a comeback there on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, Nicole, you got two things going on. You got the CDC new guidelines, and then you have a mask mandate, as you mentioned, here in the House of Representatives. And it did not take long for Republicans to slam those new guidelines. They say that they're not based in science, but rather that the vaccines themselves prevent serious illness and prevent death without masks. And they also say it may actually discourage people who may be on the fence considering getting a vaccine from actually going and getting their shots.
I trust the vaccine. And I think we should get more people vaccinated, and telling people who are vaccinated to wear a mask doesn't get more people vaccinated.
Now, Leader McCarthy there went on to say about the House of Representatives mandate that it's about control and power and not so much about science. The CDC doctors and scientists disagree with him. They say that this is about preventing the Delta variant from spreading. We know that it's more transmissible. Earlier today, Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was on camera. She actually called Leader McCarthy a moron for saying that masks don't follow the science. She didn't walk that statement back, but she followed it up. Here's how she did it.
To say that wearing a mask is not based on science, I think is not wise, and that was my comment.
Now, we talked to a lot of Republicans today. Many of them are upset. We've already seen a couple of them walk out onto the House floor without their masks, intentionally breaking that rule. Nicole, every time they do that, it's going to be, for each time, hundreds of dollars worth of fines and eventually thousands of dollars for fines for each of those individual members. Nicole?
All right, potentially thousands of dollars in fines. All right, Joe, thank you. Let's shift now from masks to the vaccine. And all around the country, we are seeing vaccine requirements go into effect. We're talking from the federal government down to private businesses. And the question a lot of you have, can your state and city leaders, even your employer, force you to get the shot? NewsNation's Allison Harris live for us tonight in D.C. Allison, talk to the president could require the vaccine for all federal employees.
Yes, Nicole, and as soon as tomorrow, as vaccinations hit a wall and the Delta variant spreads among the unvaccinated, a spokesperson for the president is saying that mandating vaccines for federal workers or requiring ongoing testing is under, quote, strong consideration. The president is going to speak on this tomorrow. It's unclear which federal workers could be included in that mandate or whether that could include members of the military. Now, it was just 2 days ago that the Department of Veterans Affairs became the first federal agency to announce that it is requiring its doctors and nurses and people who deal with VA patients on the front lines to get vaccinated, giving them just 2 months to do so starting today or face penalties. Last night, Los Angeles announced that it will require its city workers to get vaccinated or be tested regularly. Today, the New York governor following suit, doing the same thing for state employees. The governor saying that dramatic action is needed. Now there are mandates coming from the private sector as well. Google reportedly pushing back its return to the office to October due to the surge of the Delta variant, saying that only those who are vaccinated can come back in person. Tonight, we know that Facebook is doing the same thing. If you're wondering whether this is legal, the question that you just posed, Nicole, it is. Federal legal guidance out this week suggests that the law is on the side of employers on this and that vaccination can be considered a condition of employment, similar to a job qualification. We're seeing what's being referred to as a soft mandate. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's being announced in New York and in LA, in which an employee can get vaccinated or they could choose to instead undergo ongoing testing, which could be weekly COVID tests. Nicole?
Yeah, I think we're going to see more of those requirements. I mean, Facebook, Google, we know Netflix, so it's something that's definitely happening. All right, Allison Harris, thank you. All right, let's get to Brian Enton live in Florida. Brian, we do know Florida, one of the states dealing with a surge in COVID cases. Is that prompting more people to get the vaccine there, though?
Yeah, it's interesting, Nicole. We've been out at this vaccination site a couple of times over the last couple of months. Today, it definitely feels busier. More people lining up at the vaccine drive-thru behind me, many of them saying they're worried about the Delta variant. Here in Florida, about 50% of people have been vaccinated so far. That's about the national average. But take a look. It's interesting when you dig in and you look at the vaccination rates throughout the country. They are so different depending on which part of the country you look at. Virginia has the highest vaccination rate anywhere in the country, 84%. The lowest is Mississippi at 39%. Today, I spoke to NewsNation affiliate reporters in both of those places. In Mississippi, why do you think the vaccine rate is so low?
I think the vaccine rate is low because there's a lot of mistrust. I think a lot of people are set in their ways already. That's just kind of the nature of the South.
Jolie, what's it like in Vermont, in the state with the highest vaccination rate? I mean, are people just out living normal life?
Life seems pretty back to normal. People are, we can see like faces, people aren't wearing their masks, people are just kind of going about their lives.
So Vermont has the most people vaccinated. Mississippi right now has the least amount of people vaccinated, and it really shows in the hospitalizations. Mississippi seeing a surge in hospitalizations, Nicole. They actually had to cancel some elective surgeries at several hospitals today.
Yeah, we're certainly seeing a connection there. All right, Brian, thank you. For the second time in 2 days, Team USA gold medalist Simone Biles took herself out of competition, this time from the individual all-around. NewsNation's Jack Doles is in Tokyo. Jack, great to talk with you again. So what's the reaction there?
Well, I talked to a couple of her teammates last night, and they said they weren't surprised that Simone pulled herself out of this. She's got to get herself mentally right now. That's the most important thing. They all support her. So right now we do know Simone Biles will not be in the all-around competition. A big blow for Team USA, but let's hope Simone can get herself right.
Yeah, we definitely hope that. Now, Jack, do you think we'll see more of this maybe from other athletes as competition continues? There's a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure, Nicole. And one of the athletes I talked to last night, Hannah Roberts, is the reigning world champion in BMX freestyle. That makes its debut here. On the same day that Biles pulled out of the team competition, Hannah stopped a training session midway through because she wasn't mentally right. She said she has been questioning her mental health all through this. And she said, you know what, if you're not, you can be in top shape physically, but if you're not right in the right space in your head, it's very difficult to perform. And in her case, when you're doing all these tricks and stunts on a BMX bike, very dangerous. So that's why she pulled out. I think you're going to see a lot of athletes. USOC was very happy to see Simone Biles felt like she could pull out of the competition for her teammates and for herself, because now this conversation is really going and the athletes understand they need to be right mentally.
Absolutely. Jack, we always love getting the perspective from Tokyo. We will check in with you again tomorrow. Thanks. Well, of course, lots of other headlines coming out of Tokyo. NewsNation's Aaron Nolan staying on top of all of it. So, Aaron, tell us what's the latest.
You know, Nicole, there's so much going on. The news of the day in Tokyo continues to show why these games are so unique. Jack was just talking about it. Simone Biles is out, but other things are making history, including 2 firsts for Team USA in Olympic competition. We start with Katie Ledecky, one of the most decorated swimmers in history. Last night, she was trying to win 2 races in about an hour, the 200-meter and the long-distance 1,500-meter freestyle races. She didn't win the short one, but she got the long one. She won gold, and by the way, it's the first time this race has ever been in the pool. Speaking of first, on the half-court basketball surface, Team USA won the 3-on-3 gold medal over Russia. This is the first year for this sport. But unfortunately, it is not all golden in Tokyo. COVID numbers continue to grow in the capital city of Japan. New cases there top 3,100. But officials are staying positive, saying in the Olympic Village, only 3 athletes and 8 Olympic personnel have recently tested positive. One final note, Nicole, before we go. Heat has been an issue. It is the Summer Games. It is supposed to be warm, but not quite like this. One tennis player turned to an official and said enough is enough. He asked who would be responsible if he died on the court. Daniel Medvedev did win the match, but not before fainting, as temps on the court felt like 99 degrees. Nicole, this is something that tennis players are struggling with. They've actually moved tennis matches back in the day, hoping for a little bit of coolness to hit Japan.
Yeah, because you think 99 degrees on the court there, but then, you know, they're moving around, heating up. So, all right. Aaron, thank you for that. Well, new tonight, a man arrested for allegedly shooting one teenager, hurting another at a movie theater in California. NewsNation's Chip Yost from KTLA in Los Angeles is joining us. So, Chip, initially, theater workers didn't even know this had happened.
Yeah, this is a strange case, and it's kind of disturbing because of the randomness of it. You're right. Nobody seemed to have heard any kind of gunshot during the movie. Maybe they thought it was part of the movie. This is kind of a violent horror movie, The Forever Purge, where it's about lawlessness and mayhem, so there's a lot of action in it. But nobody heard it during the movie, apparently. There were no reports of a shooting. The 2 victims were only found after workers went into the theater after the movie was over. Now, we've learned 2 young people, 2 teenagers were shot. One of them lost her life. That is Riley Goodrich. She was 18 years old. She was with Anthony Barajas at this movie. He's 19 years old. watching the movie. He's now in the hospital on life support. When police got there, they had this huge mystery. They didn't have witnesses inside the theater. There was no weapon inside the theater. They did an intense investigation and eventually led them to a neighborhood not far from where this movie theater was. This is a movie theater in Corona, California. It's off the 15 freeway. This neighborhood where the suspect was arrested, not far away from there, it's called El Cerrito. He is now in custody. His name is Joseph Jimenez. He's 20 years old. Doesn't live far from where the victims live. So you got an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, but police say there's no evidence the three of these people ever knew each other. There's no evidence there was any kind of confrontation before the shooting. According to police, right now, it just seems this suspect was in the theater, maybe went there for this reason, but just randomly, for whatever reason, shot these two teenagers while they were watching the movie. Now, they may get new evidence as the investigation goes on that shows some sort of connection or other motive, but right now they say as far as motive goes, they don't have one. They were asked whether or not the plot of the movie may have played a role. As I said, the movie is kind of about mayhem and lawlessness for a day. It's a series of movies that have been out for years, but they said no, there's no evidence of that either. So it's just a big mystery why this guy did this, but they do have evidence, they say, tying him to the movie theater. They have evidence he was at the theater. They also say they recovered a gun from his home after his arrest. That gun matched the type of gun used in this case from shell casings they got at the scene at the movie theater. They say that and other evidence have tied him to the theater shooting. They believe they have the right guy. They just don't know why he did it.
Yeah, so many questions still tonight. All right, Chip, thank you. Well, listen to this. Amazingly, a pilot walks away from a fiery plane crash. Look at this, outside of Las Vegas. Witnesses say he escaped just as that plane caught fire. News Nation's David Charnes from our Las Vegas station KLAS joining us live. So, David, what did the pilot say about the crash?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see, Nicole, this pilot just walking out of this fiery crash. Now, this happening about an hour north of where we are, just right next to the Las Vegas Strip. And thankfully, it happened in a desert area that happens to be right next to an Air Force base. But check out this video. It's just incredible to see that plane going down right in the median on US 95. And that's the road that takes us from here in southern Nevada up to Reno. Now, in the video, you actually could hear the pilot saying that he got out safely, but that fire just consuming the plane. He says he was flying about 10,000 feet when the engine started smoking. He was able to land in the road, but as you see, the plane destroyed. And that pilot also saying it wasn't his plane, but actually a customer's that he was transporting. Again, that pilot just walking away totally fine, though, but we're told all that is left of that plane right now is the engine. Nicole, back to you.
Yeah, David, looking at that video, I cannot believe he walked away from that. So glad he did, though. All right, David, thank you. Now let's get to the wildfire emergency out west. The governors of Nevada and California, both along the border of their states, to plead with the Biden administration for some federal help. News Nation's Ashley Zavala from our station KTXL in Sacramento was there.
After touring the devastation here in Gardnerville, Nevada, California Governor Gavin Newsom and Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak have a plea to the federal government.
When we've got this many hundreds of thousands of acres of land to protect, we need more bodies, and we need more air support.
Governor Sisolak and Governor Newsom taking in the destruction from the Tamarack fire, which has so far destroyed dozens of structures and forced thousands to flee. Standing in front of flattened homes and twisted steel, the governors noted this fire started on federal land in California and scorched into Nevada. Sisolak said the U.S. Forest Service is understaffed and under-resourced and has been for years, which may have contributed to this fire's condition.
This one didn't start as that big of a situation. And unfortunately, it was prioritized down because they thought it wasn't going to be this bad. If we'd have had enough resources, we could have knocked this one out early and prevented a lot of this damage.
Newsom noting 13 states are working to put out 90 large-scale fires burning across the country as the West Coast dries further into a mega drought.
This is very consequential. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves that we can continue to do what we've done.
Both governors say they'll be following up on these issues and will be having a discussion with President Joe Biden later this week. Back to you, Nicole.
All right, Ashley, thank you. Well, from wildfires to flash flooding, which remains a threat in the Southwest, it's turned into some close calls for some people, but frantic searches for others swept up in that rushing water. News Nation's Courtney Allen joining us live from her Albuquerque station, KRQE. So, Courtney, that water just moves in so quickly.
Absolutely, Nicole. First, we start in Rio Verde, Arizona, just northeast of Phoenix. Watch as this SUV is swept up in flash floods and flips over with a father and son inside. As their wife and mother watches on, brave bystanders jump into action. Local news reports say they saw the boy in the window and pulled him out. They tied ropes together to go in and rescue them both. There has been a GoFundMe set up to replace the car. Just under 2 hours north of Phoenix, professional crews and volunteers there are still searching for 16-year-old Faith Moore. She got caught up in flash floods Saturday in her car, and she has not been seen since. Overnight, the local sheriff's office says they've searched 5 million square feet using 4 thermal drones. And here in Albuquerque, firefighters found the body of a second person today in an arroyo or canal. The woman was swept away in flash floods yesterday as one other person was rescued. This comes just a few weeks after 3 people died in those same channels in flash floods. Nicole, back to you.
Oh, such a dangerous, deadly situation. All right, Courtney, thank you. Well, breaking tonight, look at this. Home security surveillance footage shows the moment lightning strikes an elderly man's home. This is just outside of Chicago, with that lightning sparking a fire that sadly later killed him. Well, and listen to this. Firefighters say furniture and other items inside that home actually kept them from saving the 85-year-old's life. He ended up dying of smoke inhalation. So, of course, this comes as more severe storms expected this evening across the Midwest. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon. I know, Albert, you're keeping an eye on everything for us.
Yeah, Nicole, upper Midwest into the Great Lakes. That's going to be the area tonight into tomorrow morning that we're going to have to watch very carefully for some very intense thunderstorms. The radar right now showing intense thunderstorms developing in northern areas of Wisconsin. And as the evening goes on, this will grow in both intensity and coverage and race off towards the southeast with the jet stream. Let me highlight the areas that we're keeping an eye on. You can see upper Midwest stretching into the Great Lakes, especially in the orange and red. That's an enhanced to moderate risk, including Milwaukee and Green Bay, out towards Kalamazoo, Michigan. This is the area that we'll have to keep an eye on thunderstorms producing large hail and even some tornadoes. But overall, the greatest threat from these thunderstorms tonight into tomorrow morning will be straight line winds. Future radar showing those thunderstorms entering places like Milwaukee and also western areas of Michigan after midnight, early morning hours for Chicago, and by sunrise tomorrow, ending up in northern areas of Indiana and Ohio. Wind gusts potentially as high as 75 miles per hour, something we're keeping an eye on all night long. Nicole.
All right, Albert, keeping an eye on it. All right, still to come tonight on Rush Hour. Listen to this. A teenager telling her terrifying story. She was dragged underwater by a crocodile. Lived to tell, though, what she says was going through her head during that attack. And an unbelievable story about a man who spent his whole life with severe disabilities after being shaken as a baby. Well, now the woman responsible facing a murder charge after his death nearly 40 years later. Okay, imagine being up close and personal with this. A teenager from California recovering in the hospital tonight after she was attacked by a crocodile. It happened while she was on the beach during her vacation in Mexico. NewsNation's Michelle Kingston from our San Francisco station KRON spoke with the teen about her absolutely terrifying experience.
What started out as a fun girls' trip ended up being a nightmare of a vacation. Kiana Hummel of Marin County, California, had just finished dinner with her best friend at a resort in Mexico when she says they walked down to the beach. Within minutes, a crocodile attacked, bringing her under the water. She says the crocodile was at least 12 feet long. He left big open wounds and lacerations on her legs, tore muscles and tendons, and Kiana says she may not be able to walk for a few months because of nerve damage.
Turned around and it grabbed me again on my left leg, and that was the time I didn't think I was going to get out.
Kiana is now recovering in a Bay Area hospital. Back to you, Nicole.
Wow, Kiana is a champ. All right, Michelle, thank you. Still ahead on Rush Hour. We are now just days away from the end of the federal eviction moratorium. Millions of Americans now wondering where they'll go when that protection runs out. How housing advocates are working to find them places to live. Thanks so much for joining us. Here is what's happening in your nation right now. A 35-year-old Florida man dies from brain injuries he suffered as a baby, but now his former babysitter facing charges for something she did to him nearly 4 decades ago. But we begin tonight with the federal eviction moratorium, which is set to expire on Saturday. So that means millions of renters in New York are at risk of losing their homes. So we start tonight in New York City, where News Nation correspondent Tom Negevin is live. Tom, we understand some families are preparing right now for mass evictions.
Nicole, that's exactly what they're doing. In fact, New York State has actually extended its eviction ban to the end of next month. But communities at risk here and those families say buying a bit more time is not the answer. It's called Bronx Works, a tiny staff with a Herculean task, keeping people in their homes, knowing federal help will soon run out.
It's getting more and more anxiety-provoking for a lot of people.
A lot may be an understatement. In New York, 500,000 people are behind on rent, about $2.2 billion worth. Nationally, after 16 months of the pandemic, the numbers are staggering. At least 6.4 million Americans in arrears. Landlords owed more than $20 billion. The stress is enormous.
She said that she can't go to sleep at night.
Families wondering where they'll go when the CDC's eviction moratorium expires on Saturday.
What brings me here is to help my dad out with the rent.
This is the South Bronx, considered the most impoverished congressional district in America. Of the 10 New York City zip codes considered highest risk for evictions, 8 are right here.
I'm just doing what I have to do as a parent, as a human being. I got to take care of my responsibilities.
Anna has 4 kids. She's lived in this neighborhood her whole life. Through poverty and addiction, she's been homeless before and worries she soon will be again.
It's a ever so real, like, slap on the face. Like, oh, and it just hit my stomach. Like, oh God, what have I done? Like, we really going to be in the street?
Imagine millions of people feeling exactly that way. Advocates for fair housing for the homeless say they're preparing right now for mass evictions. Holding on, though, they say, to one last thread of hope, Nicole. They say they would like to see one more federal extension that would give states time to distribute billions of dollars in rental aid.
Yeah, we'll see if that extension happens. Tom, excellent reporting. Thank you. Well, people and businesses all across the country feeling the effects of product shortages and other supply chain issues as they try to get back to those pre-pandemic shopping levels. News Nation correspondent Nancy Liu joining us live tonight from California. And Nancy, those shortages are really affecting the way people shop.
It has to, Nicole, because it takes a lot more plotting and planning, and that goes for businesses too. Here at the Snyder Diamond Store, staffers have had to change customer expectations in a big way, and it's a similar dilemma for all kinds of retailers across the country. The cold reality of the global supply chain mess hits hard at places like Santa Monica's Snyder Diamond Store. Like most days, customers are being warned about order delays.
It's insane that things have taken so long, but it's not the store's fault at all.
A lot of our products, you know, they can take up to 8 or 9 months right now. So now we're being quoted sometime in the spring of 22.
Yes, delivery for some appliances can now mean a wait of 9 months or more. A key holdup in the chain is in the waters off LA. The cargo ship backup is at around 40 vessels today, which port officials say has been the status quo for months due to a labor shortage. The ripple effect is product shortages on many fronts, from appliances to furniture, clothing, and school supplies.
For kids, like younger kids, they were kind of low on a lot of stuff, like the drinks, the backpacks, the lunch pals.
And now the global supply chain is twisted up even more due to new COVID outbreaks here and in export countries such as Vietnam. That means continued disruption, delays, and container stack-ups, and the trickle-down effect for businesses and consumers, inflation.
The transportation costs, you know, where you'd pay $6,000 or $7,000 for a container. Now it's costing $40,000 for a container. So it's really impacting everybody.
Diamond estimates that appliance prices alone have jumped by about 15% so far. The supply issues have forced also consumers to settle for second choices, and even then, it may not come in a timely manner. Nicole?
Yeah, those shortages affecting all of us. All right, Nancy, thank you. Next on Rush Hour, why a Florida woman is facing charges nearly 40 years after shaking a baby, causing permanent brain damage. Plus, Better Call Saul star Bob Odenkirk rushed to the hospital after collapsing on set. What we know about his condition tonight. Well, tonight, a former babysitter is facing life in prison. Now, this stems from a decades-old shaken baby case. Back in 1985, Terry McCurchie pleaded no contest to shaking 5-month-old Benjamin Dowling so severely he suffered permanent brain damage. Well, 2 years ago, the 35-year-old Dowling, he died as a result of those injuries. Now McCurchie is charged with murder. Let's bring in News Nation's Adrian Banker live with the details. Adrian, it's been almost 40 years, but this new charge now being filed.
That's right, Nicole. Some legal experts say it's going to be a long shot in court since this babysitter was already convicted and served time in the case, though decades ago she received a shockingly light sentence. The state attorney in Florida saying the evidence from medical examiners is clear and that this was more than an accident. It's homicide. A former babysitter is being charged with murder nearly 4 decades after caring for an infant in the 1980s. Terry McCurchie faces murder in the first degree in the death of Benjamin Keith Dowling. The 35-year-old died in 2019. His autopsy shows the cause of death is abusive head trauma, suffered in 1984 when Dowling was only 5.5 months old and after his parents left him with McCurchie, then just 22 years old. Upon returning home, his mom noticed something was different. Her baby was lethargic and clenching his fists. Doctors diagnosed the child with a brain hemorrhage and shaken baby syndrome. McCurchie accused of shaking the boy so hard it inflicted permanent and significant brain damage. Dowling's parents releasing this statement. Benjamin would never know how much he was loved and could never tell others of his love for them. Benjamin did smile when he was around his family, although he could never verbalize anything. We believe he knew who we were and that we were working hard to help him. Though McCurchie has maintained her innocence, back in the 80s, she pled no contest to a then attempted murder charge and child abuse. In a plea deal, she served only weekends in jail for 3 months and then probation. But just recently, she was arrested, a grand jury in Texas indicting her for murder.
She's being recharged on the case she already pled guilty to. I mean, plus, don't forget, this happened back in the 80s. And where's all the evidence now?
The Broward State Attorney's Office says the passage of time between the injuries sustained and the death of the victim were considered by the forensic experts who conducted the autopsy and ruled the death was directly caused by the injuries from 1984. The facts speak for themselves, and this case was presented to the grand jury, which determined that this was a homicide. Some attorneys say that the idea that the former babysitter would now be convicted is highly unlikely.
I'm not saying that her punishment was just or not just. We don't want to see old cases get rehashed out 20, 30 years later.
Now, reports were that back in 1984, McCurchie said the baby fell off the couch. And as you mentioned, Nicole, she now faces a life sentence.
All right, so Adrian, we heard in your piece there, okay, we know that she did serve her time, but you know, weekends in jail when she caused permanent brain damage.
Yes. Nicole, she was originally facing up to a 12 to 17-year sentence. And instead, she reached that deal and she was only serving those weekends, again, only for 3 months, and then was on probation. We know at the time she herself was pregnant with her 3rd child. Nicole.
All right, we'll see what happens in this case. Adrian, thank you. Well, still ahead tonight in entertainment headlines, loved ones mourning one of the founding members of legendary rock band ZZ Top. How the music world is remembering Dusty Hill tonight. On topping our entertainment headlines tonight, legendary rock band ZZ Top mourning the loss of one of their own. Bassist Joseph Dusty Hill has died. NewsNation's Doug Kolb from our Los Angeles station KTLA joining us now. So, Doug, Hill was with the band for more than 50 years.
Yeah, you know, Nicole, ZZ Top was three people, and Dusty was one of them. He joined the band back in 1969 and has been with them for every single album recording and every single tour since, with the exception of, I think, in the early 2000s, he had a medical reason for canceling the ZZ Top tour. But Dusty had a signature look. As you're taking a look at that video here, you see that long beard. He also had a signature sound with that bass guitar and occasionally stepping in on lead vocals. Now, any ZZ Top fan knows that Billy Gibbons was the guy who did most of the singing. But if you can recall the song Tush, which we know, I ain't asking for much, that was Dusty's voice. I don't think you want to hear me sing anymore. Dusty died in his Houston home today. He was 72 years old.
Yeah, we definitely want him to rest in peace. Loved his beard. All right, well, an outpouring of support for actor Bob Odenkirk. He collapsed on the set of Better Call Saul.
Yeah, and this story is ultra concerning, mostly because nobody has any details surrounding his collapse or his condition at the moment. All we know is that he was on the set in New Mexico shooting the final season of Better Call Saul when he suddenly collapsed. He was then transported to a nearby hospital where he remains under the care of doctors at this moment. There's also no word yet on how this may affect production and if it will delay perhaps the release of Better Call Saul. We do, however, wish Bob the best. I mean, take it from someone who's covered every single Better Call Saul premiere, seasons 1 through 5. I tell you, Nicole, he is one of the most nicest, genuine guys you'll ever meet in Hollywood.
Yeah, great guy, and yeah, we definitely wish him the best and a very speedy recovery. All right, we're going to switch gears completely now, Doug. Kelly Clarkson ordered to pay her ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock, spousal and child support to the tune of $200,000 every single month.
Nicole, we're going to put this one in perspective. Okay, a judge ordered Kelly Clarkson pay $200,000 a month in spousal support. Dr. Dre was recently ordered to pay $300,000. Dr. Dre is a billionaire. Kelly's yearly bill comes to around $2.4 million a year. Now, obviously, that seems like an extreme amount of money, but it's said that Kelly earns around $2 million per month. But here's the kicker. Her estranged husband, whose name is Brandon Blackstock, initially asked for double that. Nicole, all this after 7 years of marriage.
Oh, all right. Well, we're going to switch gears again. A lot of my producers are upset about this. The longest running kids animated series coming to an end after 25 years.
Yeah, this is a series that most kids grew up just loving and watching. I was anxious to show it to my kids, but it's coming to an end. I mean, that's the end of it. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm getting a phone call. I should have turned that off. But yeah, if you could continue and take it from here, Nicole.
All right, we'll do that. All right. Thank you, Doug. We appreciate it. We continue tonight live from our NewsNation headquarters here in Chicago. Here are some other top stories we are watching right now. At least 12 states have reimposed mask mandates based on the latest CDC guidelines, recommending fully vaccinated people resume wearing face coverings indoors if they live in areas where the virus is surging, and that's even if you're vaccinated. The highly contagious Delta variant is causing a spike in COVID cases and hospitalizations nationwide as businesses are scrambling to adjust to those new recommendations. Vaccine requirements also going into effect in some parts of the country, but overall, vaccination rates are very different from state to state. Vermont coming in with the highest vaccination rate, 83%, getting at least one shot. Mississippi, among the lowest vaccination rates in the country, they're sitting at just 34%. Progress today in Washington on the $1 trillion infrastructure package. Senate Republicans reached a deal with Democrats today and are ready to begin consideration of this key part of President Biden's agenda. It does still require 60 votes in the evenly split 50-50 Senate to proceed to actual consideration. Well, that bipartisan infrastructure deal coming as the Interstate 40 bridge linking Arkansas and Tennessee will begin reopening to traffic next week. The Hernando de Soto Bridge was shut down in May. Remember this after inspectors found that crack in one of its horizontal steel beams. It's a critical part of the structural integrity. About 50,000 vehicles typically travel across that bridge, which is a key artery for all U.S. commerce. It runs from North Carolina to California. And police say the shooting at an Indianapolis FedEx facility in April was not racially motivated. 19-year-old Brandon Hull shot and killed 8 employees, including 4 members of the city's Sikh community. Indianapolis police and federal authorities, though, say that attack was used as a, quote, suicidal murder, and that Hull believed it would show his masculinity. And the maker of the rifle used in the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting offering some victims' families about $33 million to settle a lawsuit. 9 families suing the now bankrupt company Remington. 20 children and 6 adults were killed at the Connecticut school back in 2014 by a man who later killed himself. That is all for Rush Hour tonight. You can follow me on social media. Just search Nicole Burley on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.